Kartikeya Sharma, uh, and this is News9 Live. This is a continuous coverage. The opposition leaders are in Manipur, we all know. A lot of coverage took place in Manipur. Mr. Kipgen uh, joins us. I'll also be joined by Brijesh Pandey and Pankaj. But there are a couple of things, before I get into what's happening right now. One was the women protesters got police in Manipur district. This big headline, something caught my eye. Women protesters blocked police in Manipur district. Agitators from the Kuki community suspect that this could be an attempt to bring radical Meiteis disguised as state forces into More, while police have called for allegations misleading. This is from Hindu. Police have said this is misleading, but a newspaper has reported that. That's one. And second part was Mr. Narabne, who is the ex-army chief, saying that flags China's aid to insurgents. We understand that NSCIM, they were trained in Yunnan province, both Muiwa and Khaplang faction, and they were supported. So this is something which also caught my eye, and the visuals which you are watching uh, are from Imphal yesterday. Brijesh, if you can just increase the light. Yes, wonderful. So, Mr. Kipgen, first question to you is, what do you make of this huge rally which took place in Imphal? How do you respond
Mm,
to it?
The way I look at it, the Métis community are now in a kind of the position is very bad for them. They're in a fix. They feel they need to somehow get some kind of attention, away from them. And ever since the video of those women, being paraded naked has gone viral, the world media and the world has suddenly taken notice of the situation and being condemning the Métis community. Yes, it is unfortunate that the entire community should bear the brunt of such a of such news. But so, in order for them to get find some sort of legitimacy in what they're doing, they are doing whatever they feel is necessary. They have to keep on doing something or the other to take the focus away from the previous news. So the way I see it is like that, because once that video had gone viral, people were very quick to condemn. In fact, the Métis organizations, the women organization, they had gone and allegedly burned down a house which they claimed to be one of the rapists or those present in the mob, and they were very quick to condemn. Chief Minister Biren Singh had condemned it. The Kokomi had condemned it, and they had asked for the strictest of punishment to those perpetrators. And once the arrest was starting to being made, now the same women community, they're asking that there should be no more protests. There should be no more arrests being made in this regard. That the arrests made are false
Okay.
allegations. The innocents are being arrested.
Mr.
So they feel
Kipgen,
that
that is
some of
one.
them have taken the praise. Huh?
And the secondly is, what do you make of this news? Police has denied it. It was reported by one of the two security reporters. Agitators from Kukizo community suspect that this could be an attempt to bring in radical Meiteis disguised as state forces to More, while police have called these allegations baseless. Police says it's baseless, but I recall, both me and Brijesh were talking about it on Friday evening, and Saturday both of us also received similar tweet outs and WhatsApp messages. Why is this? Why is there so much of distrust? Because police can belong to any ethnicity.
Police can belong to any ethnicity, and such a step, if the sole aim was to bring down the violence on both sides, and to take a very neutral position, then police, be it from whichever community, should have been welcomed. But such is not the situation. Such is not the ground reality in Imphal and in Manipur. The thing is that even the police officers, they have taken a communal color on them. Like, the uniform is no more khaki for them. When the Métis wears the uniform, they represent something. Similarly, even the Kuki police officers, be it the high-ranking ones or the foot soldiers, they are all in the hills. Those who were even supposed to be on the escort list of some of those VIPs in the valley, they could not remain there now. Even their bosses could not ensure their safety, so they had all left the Imphal Valley and they have gone to the hills. So now, in this time, you see, looking at how things are, the ground, we are all familiar with the ground reality. But and we don't expect that in those in a caravan of police commandos approaching More, there will be any cookies. Now, why not? See, that is the picture, and and so when at this point of time, it is not wise, since things are of a communal tone, that these native policemen, even if their intention is good, even if their intention is for security of the state and of the More town, they shouldn't be encouraged. In fact, the Home Ministry, the Home Department should not allow these personals to
मैं
approach
पंकज
More
वही जलाई जाती
area.
Okay.
Yeah.
These are the visuals which you are watching. Uh, which who were part and parcel of the all party meeting which took place there. So these were the visuals you saw, Mr. Kipgen. But coming to
Hmm.
you, Brijesh, then how do you expect the police to do its job when there is so much of mistrust?
Well, I honestly don't see anybody doing their job properly because there is a lot of distrust, and the police has not covered itself in glory. If you know, if I mean, Maitis are the majority, 53%, 54%, but it's not like that cookies are like 4-5% or 10%. They are also a sizable chunk of the population as far as Manipur is concerned. And till now, we have seen reports after reports which has pointed towards the act of Manipur police. So and many most of these cookie intelligentsia, cookie people, cookie leaders, they have voiced their distrust with the Manipur police. And so has been the Maitis as far as Assam, certain battalions of Assam Rifles concerned. And this is something which we have discussed at length, Kartikeya, that this is what is making the task of restoring law and order in the state of Manipur a lot more difficult. Because if you take away the trust which is there on the police, and if you don't trust a section of Assam Rifles, what does it leave you with? And this is the reason why we have been saying that the state government should take strict. There should be a strict crackdown on anybody who takes law and order its in own hand, be it from any of the ethnicity. And only once there's an equal crackdown on all of them, only then you will reach at a situation where a degree of trust will be built as far as police is concerned, and other paramilitary forces are concerned. Right now, what we see is that that women are also making headlines for ensuring that that the army, the paramilitary, the police, they are not able to carry on their own job properly. And this is something which is added to the problem of the paramilitary and the security forces, because nobody would want to open fire or resort to lathi charge as far as these women are concerned. But they are definitely making the task of Indian army and other paramilitary force a lot more
Absolutely
difficult.
right. Brijesh, absolutely right. Pankaj, this was also seen yesterday where women from the Kuki community also blocked roads. They also
Absolutely.
blocked.
Kartikeya, Brijesh, good afternoon. Uh, what it
Afternoon,
looks like,
afternoon,
what it
afternoon.
looks like, yes, what it looks like is we haven't reached anywhere. I mean, the only thing is the protest size has increased.
Correct.
Yesterday, you are absolutely right. Based on the violence in More town, empty houses were burned. It's a Kuki dominated area. Fewer Methi people live there. Methi houses, empty houses were burned down. Yesterday, so the police says that we will send additional forces. So we saw Kuki Zo women protesting yesterday on the Imphal More highway. Now, their demands are completely opposite with what we are showing right now. Down with narco terrorism. NRC is the only solution. So the fault lines are clear. And this has been there. This is the very genesis, the very basic tenet of the protest from it has where it has started. Now they have just gained momentum. I mean, I'm looking at both the visuals, today's visuals and yesterday visuals. Obviously, they are diametrically opposite. So Brajesh is absolutely right when it comes to how the forces, how the police would handle it for sure. But to keep them separated, the police also would come under the same scanner, if not the central forces. So the chances, the ray of hope for reducing this divide, I don't see it happening, unfortunately, because look at the gathering. This is far, far more bigger than what we saw, in the beginning of the month of July when the protests had started to happen. Relief camps, now people have also started questioning them, that if there is peace, then why there are relief camps? All those things are there. So in my opinion, it is imperative that the government should come up with something very concrete here, because it doesn't look that any confidence building or peace building measures have come to place. Yes, they have the democratic right to protest, but I am talking about the fault lines, which are pretty much clear.
Mr.
Kartikeya,
Kipgen,
just 1 second, Kartikeya.
sure,
Even if you
sure.
look at the banners or the placards which these people are carrying, they're saying that no to separate administration, down with narco terrorism, and NRC should be implemented. Basically, it is the same othering which we have been talking on for a long time now. Because there is no if you want to down with narco terrorism, you cannot hold it as a on a placard, as if there's only one community which is involved in doing this. So no to separate administration. Basically, what we are seeing through this rally is also solidifying those fault lines further. And that is my worry, Kartikeya, that by every passing day this is getting more and more intensified. And for the state government, it would be almost, a very, very, very difficult job to untangle the kind of mess Manipur finds itself in.
More than that, the Indigenous Tribal Leaders Forum added that the government's attempt to send Metis security forces in tribal areas will only heighten tension, lead to more violence. While KIM, the organization which you represent, Mr. Kipgen, pointed out that the Home Minister Mishra had promised not to send state government forces to More during his visit, as reported by the Hindu earlier. Now, this has been denied by the police. Police says this has not happened. My question to you is that. Was this promise made as reported
Mm,
here?
yes, the promise made was that, uh, since things are sensitive, and although it may not be something which should be done as per how a government stand should be, the understanding is that so long as this conflict has an ethnicity, has a communal tone to it, the valley based police should not enter the hills. That is the understanding which we had with the Home Minister, as per what the Kuki-INPI Manipur had declared. So that is the stand, and that is the understanding which we have had. And this is actually good for the present conflict. I mean, to bring down the kind of violence, because there is no trust, there is animosity, between the people, the hill people, the Kukizo community, and the state police forces, be it the IRB or the Manipur Police Commandos. So it was an understanding which we had to to bring down the violence, and to bring a sense of things to come, a more peaceful approach. It may not be justifiable, but it was the only practical approach that could have been taken, and that is what was conveyed to Home Minister Amit Shah, and he was very understanding of the position that we were in.
Okay, so now this brings me to another dimension. Why is Mr. Naravne Brijesh saying that they could be in? We can't rule out foreign agencies' role in Manipur. Can you
For it,
unmute yourself? Yes.
This is not the first time, Kartikeya, that anybody has brought out the foreign element involved in it. The situation in Myanmar is a complete is in a flux, and the Chinese hand cannot be ruled out, because a majority of the security analysts and all, they have also pointed out to the quality of weapon which is there in the Sioux camps and all. They are saying that most of these weapons in the armory, which many are talking about, are kind of obsolete weapons. They're rusted, they don't fire that long and all. And the intensity of, and the number of sophisticated rifles that are in circulation, they all point to also the fact that that they have been smuggled across the border. So that is one aspect, which the army has been, which the intelligence agencies have spoken about since long. And the army experts are also, if you remember, Kartikeya, several times during our discussion, they have raised this, that how it is also a situation which is open to exploitation, as far as Myanmar is
Absolutely.
concerned, as far as China is concerned, and that is the reason why they are not completely ruling out the army chief, not completely ruling out the involvement of China or Myanmar in the conflict which we see panning out in the
Okay.
state of Manipur.
Okay. There are two bites which we have got. I've been told that we've got Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary's bite and Sanjay Raut's bite. Let us play out those bites. What they have to say there.
मणिपुर की राज्यपाल जी से हम लोग मुलाकात करके जो हमारे सारे डेलीगेशन आए थे 21 संसदों लोकसभा राज्यसभा कुल मिलाकर सारे संसदों की तरफ से ये ज्ञापन सौंपा गए हैं। हमारे ज्ञापन सौंपने की बाद और हमारे बात रखने की तुरंत बाद राज्यपाल साहिबा खुद अपना पीड़ा दुख सारे कुछ बयान किए हैं और ये 2 दिन की दौरे में जो जो चीज हमारे सामने आए थे, जो तजुर्बा हमें हुई थी, वो सारे को उनके सामने रखने के उपरांत उन्होंने सहमत जताए, हमारी बात पे सहमत जताई खुद यहाँ के राज्यपाल साहिबा। और उन्होंने ये भी सलाह दिए हैं कि आप सब मिलके मणिपुर की कुकी हो, मेती हो, हर समुदाय की जो नेतागण है, ये नेतागणों से आप चर्चा कीजिए, बात कीजिए और कोई समाधान की रास्ता ढूंढिए। उन्होंने ये भी सलाह दी कि सत्तापक्ष या विपक्ष सब मिलके ऑल पार्टी एक डेलीगेशन मणिपुर में आना चाहिए और यहाँ आके हर समुदाय की नेतागण से वार्ता करना जरूरी है, क्योंकि लोगों के बीच जो अविश्वास की वातावरण पैदा हो चुकी है, उसको निवारण करने के लिए सबको एकजुट होकर पहल करना जरूरी है। हमारे सारे मुद्दा हम उनके समीप रखे थे कि वैली के लोग हिल नहीं जा पाते, हिल के लोग वैली नहीं आ पाते, राशन, खाना, दवाई सारे जाना बंद हो चुके हैं, छात्रों को पढ़ा लिखा बंद हो चुके हैं और लोगों की सारे पीड़ा दुर्दशा को जो जो हमने देखे कल से सारे विस्तार रूप से हम बयान किए हैं और हमारी सारे बात मानते हुए राज्यपाल साहिबा सहमत जताते हुए सबको एक साथ एकजुट होकर ये मणिपुर की समस्याओं को हल निकालने के लिए कदम उठाना चाहिए और मेहनत करना चाहिए, ये उनकी तरफ से हमें कहे गए।
परेड की जा रही है, महिलाओं की हत्या भर सड़क पर हो रही है और अब तक वहां ना प्रधानमंत्री गए हैं, ना प्रधानमंत्री ने उसके ऊपर कोई बात कही संसद में। हमें बार बार कहते हैं कि प्रधानमंत्री जी, मणिपुर देश का हिस्सा है, मणिपुर की जनता भी भारत की जनता है, भारत के नागरिक है, उनका आक्रोश सुनिए। अगर प्रधानमंत्री नहीं जाते हैं तो यह हमारा कर्तव्य बनता है विपक्ष का, ऑल पार्टी डेलीगेशन एक्सेप्ट बीजेपी एंड एनडीए, इंडिया का डेलीगेशन वहां चला गया। तो उसमें शो ऑफ कैसा भाई? कल जाकर हमने उनसे, हमारे लोगों ने उनसे बातचीत की, उनका दर्द समझ लिया है। क्या इस देश की जनता का दर्द को समझ लेना और दर्द बांटना, ये शो ऑफ अगर कहते हैं प्रधानमंत्री जी, तो मुझे लगता है इतनी क्रूर और निर्घृण सरकार और राजनीति हमने देखी नहीं। इम्फाल में कल भी बड़े बड़े मोर्चे निकले सरकार के खिलाफ। पूरे देश में जहां जहां आदिवासी समाज है वहां बड़े बड़े मोर्चे निकल रहे सरकार के खिलाफ। कल महाराष्ट्र में 3 जगह पर आदिवासी समाज ने मोर्चे निकाले हैं और मुझे लगता है पूरा आदिवासी
Hindu has reported that Sushmita Dev, Kanimoi, and Phulo Devi Netam, they were able to meet victim who were paraded naked and molested by a mob on May 4th. This is reported in the paper. So at least the MPs were able to meet them, one. And second, that they said there is a palpable fear in the camp since the state administration has proven to be ineffectual, and because weapons stolen from the state police armory are still untraceable. The big question here is who will negotiate the settlement. Both Cookies and Metis do not want to speak to Chief Minister Biren Singh. Now, this is Sushmita Dev saying. A. Rahim says, who is the CPIM member who went, that while one can give benefit of doubt to the state administration on its failure to control the conflict, what is beyond comprehension is state government's absolute neglect of the camp. Uh, Mr. Kipgen, is it correct to say that the camps are being neglected?
Uh, yes, neglected because and that is just a small part of the reality. Many other things are being neglected. And when you say now the chief minister of Manipur or even the delegates visiting Manipur, they are of the view that because of the crisis, there is shortage of food, there is shortage of medicine. I don't think that is the case anymore now because it's been more than I think around 10 days now that National Highway 2 passing through Kampokpi that has also been opened. And what we came to hear, very sad fact is that even now, even in this kind of position, when the entry of transport and entry of goods is so limited, and even then, if you look at the consignment that is passing through, what we have heard is that 70% of the consignment that the state government is procuring are those of construction materials, and only 30% is of food and other essential commodities and medicines. And even out of this 30% or so of the consignment essential commodities that reaches Imphal, none of them, not a single proportion of that is reaching Churachandpur. When we open National Highway 2, at least Kangpokpi is taken care of in the sense that goods reach us, but nothing is reaching Churachandpur. So the chief minister, if he is the chief minister of Manipur as a whole, he should take equal interest in commodities reaching everywhere. And in the same way, the relief
You know,
centers,
sorry,
there is
I'm
no there
stopping
is
you.
no medical.
Right
Yeah.
now,
Hmm.
someone is tagging me, and Brijesh, I'll just come to you, and they're tagging me, and they're asking me, the thing to debate is that what about the students who were studying in Imphal University? So, Brijesh, I'm going to ask you, then I'll go to Pankaj, and then to Mr. Kipman. What about the non-Maiti students who were studying in Imphal University? Shouldn't they be transferred out to central universities जिससे उनका curriculum पे फर्क ना पड़े? Brijesh, lot of people are tagging me and saying, this should be suggested. Brijesh, I have forwarded that tweet to you also, and also to you, Pankaj, in our Manipur group. Please have a look at it. I
Absolutely,
think
absolutely, Kartikeya. The fact is that this violence should not have that kind of effect on the careers of all those who are trying to make out their careers there. They are students. They are not part of the kind of the issues which are panning out in the state of Manipur, and they should be best left alone. And I think it is the duty of the state government as well as the central government also, Kartikeya, to ensure that that their life is not compromised in this way. Their curriculum, their number of years, it should not be affected because they are not the one who is responsible for the kind of flaring which Manipur is witnessing. And I think the central universities and other states should also come forward to help all of those who are stuck there in Imphal, because going by the way Manipur is panning out, violence in Manipur is panning out, it looks very difficult for their curriculum to move forward. So yes, I think it is imperative on the part of the central
the
government
tweet I gave
to
you,
ensure
Brijesh,
that
says that Cookies or student earnestly plead the intervention of UGC India to transfer them to central universities in an educational institution where they can be, where they can study. So, this is what they are. I have forwarded you this tweet. This is something very, very different. I got tagged in this tweet line by a lot of people. I think this should apply to all the Maiti and Cookie students. Imphal
everybody,
University dysfunctional हो
Kartikeya,
गई है.
everybody, anybody and everybody, irrespective of ethnicity, if he or she is facing problem or he or she is not in a mental state to continue, given the kind of distrust that is there between the two ethnicity, I think they should be taken out. A central agency, central universities in UGC should help them out to ensure that that they don't suffer academically. And this situation is faced by both ethnicity, and I don't see any difference in a a Kukizo boy or girl pursuing academics, or a Mighty boy or girl pursuing academics. It should be applicable to both sides, and I think it would be good, fantastic, if I would say so, on part of the UGC, if they actually show a proactive role in ensuring that academics of these students is not hindered in any which way. Kartikeya?
पंकज, क्योंकि मैं
बिल्कुल
सोच रहा था इतनी सारी बात होती है, हम भूल गए स्टूडेंट्स को, उन लोगों के
कार्तिक
फ्यूचर को भूल गए. यू नो वी मस्ट हैव some sort of a campaign on our channel. I was just thinking to run that, like for example जब यूक्रेन वॉर हुई थी, most of these students
मैं
were
उसी पर आ ही रहा था.
accommodated by government of India. जब इतना बड़ा
मैं
इशू हो गया है तो मणिपुरी स्टूडेंट्स मस्ट शुड बी accommodated.
देखिए कार्तिकेय, बिल्कुल सही आपने ये पॉइंट उठाया है, और जैसा मैं हमेशा कहता हूं, मेरे रक्त भरे महाकाव्यों के पन्ने उड़ते हैं तुम्हारे हमारे इस झमेले में. सबसे ज्यादा if someone is affected is the students lot. And we have two very big examples, Kartikeya and the honorable panel here. The first one is of Ukraine that you mentioned. Definitely the government did all it could do, bring them back, try to accommodate them in the universities here, in the medical universities here. And also, we must not forget the COVID-19 saga. China too is a huge market as far as higher studies is concerned, in technical and in medical studies. Now, those students had come back, and they protested also after the COVID subsided a little bit. They had protested that they should be called back, they should be sent back to China. China should call them back, but that was not happening. And government at that time intervened, and there was a clear mandate how they would be accommodated. So UGC, University Grants Commission, Kartikeya, I mean, a lot of our viewers would have studied in different universities. Delhi University, for the timing, I'll tell you, considers these grounds very seriously. And, if a person who is academically good, has performed well, but is traveling a longer distance to go to a particular college in Delhi University, next year, based on the result and also on the request of commuting, Delhi University considers it, which falls under obviously the University Grants Commission, considers the request and transfers the student into a nearby colleges. So why not the same example can be replicated, and it is very thoughtful of the person who has marked this to you, Kartikeya, that the UGC, the governing body as far as the higher studies are concerned for in India, must consider. Secondly, the brunt of this whole violence that is happening in Manipur as of now is also taking a toll. There's a story in the Indian Express today where we are talking about university students, Kartikeya, Brijesh, who are 17, 18 years old, 16, 17 years old. But kids as at an early stage as 9 years, 10 years, who are there in 6th or 7th standard from Manipur, those who are studying in Delhi schools, they are also feeling the brunt, and emotionally, while making friends, the story is based on that. While
बिल्कुल,
making friends, they are facing that hardship. So this has
बिल्कुल.
got down to the basics, and this is very real, very real.
Mr. Kipgen, your thoughts? How to accommodate the students?
I think the process has started, and Delhi University was very welcoming. They have made arrangements. They have tied up with the Cookie Students Organization in Delhi and NCR. They are making special arrangements so that these students who could not continue their education in Manipur are being provided an opportunity so that their education process does not get stopped. Similarly in Mumbai, we came across
Wonderful.
advertisements from
This
the
is
Don
good news you are
Bosco.
giving us.
Yes, yes. There have been initiatives from the Don Bosco for skill development, skill training, and as well as employment providing of employment to these who have fled, the state, who have fled from the state, and not just in this, they are also giving free accommodation, free transportation from Manipur to Mumbai. So across various states, we are starting to see that that the Delhi University, especially, is taking these kind of steps, and these provisions are already there, and people are already starting to get the benefits of this. This is what is happening right now.
Brijesh, there is another thing which was reported, and I thought, I'll discuss this with you. You know, apart from the fact that a lot of people said that ठीक है all party meeting चल रही है, the government came very hard on them. They said it's a political tamasha, tourism करने पहुंच गए हैं. Uh, why is this so much of bitterness? Because it was an all party delegation. It was not uh, it was not one party thing. Why did they call it tamasha? Theater.
Well, Kartikeya, it was on expected lines, for because all the opposition parties which went there are opposition parties which are part of the latest gathered group, which is I.N.D.I, and it's not like that. That there were NDA parties also which were part of this particular gathering which went there to state of Manipur for 2 days, and this is the reason why right from information and broadcasting minister Anurag Thakur calling them that that they are indulging in tamasha. If they are serious about the safety and security of women, they should also have gone to the state of West Bengal and Rajasthan. And apart from Anurag Thakur, there have been various other functionaries, organization secretaries, and cabinet ministers who have come down heavily on the opposition group. See, basically, what is happening is that ever since the statement which was made by Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the start of the Parliament session, 24 hours after this heinous video came out, the template for the BJP was set that that violence against women, what happened in Manipur, is barbaric, is gruesome, but this is not the only place where crime against
Okay.
women is happening, and this is the template which has been followed from that second onwards till now by the BJP or by the BJP-led NDA parties, and this is the reason why there's so much of
Or is it
slugfest,
because of
so much of
the
bickering.
fact that opposition leaders are saying कि BJP ने जानबूझ के allowed the matter to drift away? It's because of that? That's sort of a very personal charge
Allowed the matter to drift away in which sense?
in Manipur. That bitterness.
Well, the government is facing flack for a lot many things, for not cracking down hard on people who are indulging in these kind of, act of violence, not restoring law and order. It's almost 3 months. And, even the Home Minister made a very highly publicized 3 to 4 day visit to the state of Manipur, where he went to Churachandpur, he went to Imphal, he spoke to all the stakeholders, security stakeholders and all. And he made a request that, give me 15 days and I'll be coming back in July. But not the 15 days promise was upheld, and not did the visiting Manipur in the month of July has been done. The point is that it is almost 3 months now, Kartikeya, and you don't need an opposition party leader to tell anybody that that the state has failed miserably in controlling the law and order situation. The law and order situation, we have to also remember, Kartikeya, is also in the hands of the central government. And unfortunately, neither the central government nor the state government, going by the kind of massive, deep ethnic divide which you are witnessing there, the role of women in ensuring that that the army or the Assam Rifles is not able to crack down in the degree in which it was required to curb the law and order situation, and also the role of Manipur police and SF commandos, which have been coming under increasing glare because there's complete distrust by the Kuki side. So I think there's a lot many problems, and then there are a lot many layered problems interlinked with the two, and the government is in real fix as far as the violence in Manipur is concerned. You can either restore violence, either you can restore law and order situation in Manipur, or you can try to be a mighty hero. You can't be both things at the same go, Karthik.
Oh, perfectly put. Huh? Either you can restore the violence or you can behave like a community hero. Yesterday I was going through a couple of books, and something was very, very strange, and it recalls, there have been times where the separation between two different communities have been peaceful, but there have been times where opposition to a new entity remains. Now in Manipur, it has mired in lot of what you call violence. If you look at the emergence of Mizoram, if you look at emergence of Nagaland, as states, it had initial hiccups, but that was in context of Assam. This is happening internally. So, Manipur becomes a very, very different state here, Mr. Kipgen, because it's like division within. It's not stemming out of large administrative unit. I think last time a sort of a peaceful parallel can be given is that of Andhra Pradesh, where a lot of people of Andhra were opposed to the partition, but Telanganites wanted it. Mr. Kipgen.
Yes, looking at it from the present position we are in, we would argue that this is not something, the demand for separate administration is not something that the way Nagaland was created, the way Mizoram was created. You are saying like you cannot compare it along those lines, but the story is the same, the principle is the same. And if you see, when Nagaland was carved out of Naga Hills of Assam. Similarly, Mizo Hills became Mizoram, and Sadar Hills has always been left out. Sadar Hills is was a concept that
But yes, I would like to
even
add one caveat. I was
mm,
reading through books, as reference, but there was no hostility to the Assamese people. There's a hostility between communities. There was a hostility towards the administrator. There was no
yes,
hostility between people.
yes, because that because there in, for example, the creation of be it Nagaland or Mizoram, it was created not because the people could not live as part of Assam anymore. They demanded that that their separate entity be recognized and that administration be given to them. So it was a peaceful process. Now here in Manipur, the demand for separate administration is not something that we have been demanding and then the violence broke out. It's the other way around. We are demanding a separate administration because there is violence. That is why you see violence here and not there. No, not in the previous chapters. Because here the demand for separate administration is a result of the violence. Their separation is there. So the government needs to recognize this physical separation and grant an administrative unit to that separated entity. That is the way things are going here.
But Brijesh, if there is a clear indication from the government that the separate administration isn't coming, they aren't even affecting sixth schedule. So when you are not even affecting sixth schedule, which is like Bodo Territorial Council, then what are your sources telling? Is it going to be more weight? Because a lot of people say that sometimes center takes a long view of the issue when it comes to northeast. Sort of a long view.
Well,
Time
Kartikeya,
lagega. Is it correct or I'm completely off the mark, Brijesh?
no, Kartikeya, see, the thing is, I don't see any reason why the government will accept to the separate administration or separate state demand. Because the government firmly feels that, whatever the situation is there, they will talk to them, they'll give them some degree of autonomy, but there's no way a separate administration can be given and there's no way a separate state can be given. That is what we have been, talking about for a while now, Kartikeya, that the government feels that if they are seen to be exceeding or exercising to the request, then they are seen to be weak, and no government wants to be seen weak. B, it doesn't help them politically, because if they agree to the remark, if they agree to the demand of separate administration, they run the risk of alienating the majority mighty community who has who have 40 plus MLAs. So that would be committing political hierarchy, and that is the reason why the government is also in a kind of a fix as to how to go ahead with the situation right now. With the kind of statement which has been made by the chief minister that we will not even part with 1 inch of the territory of Manipur, even then there's last blood in my a drop of blood in my veins. It's a very clear indicator of how things are going to move forward. And what is worrying for me is that Manipur is not some normal state, which is not sharing an international border. Manipur is sharing a long international border, and the kind of turmoil which we have seen for the last 3 months. And honestly speaking, I don't see any kind of breakthrough in the next forget couple of months. In fact, next 3 to 6 months timeline. So that makes me a lot more worried about what will happen to the internal and security of the country as well. Because it is not only the cookies and the Maitis which are there at the line, it gives a lot of scope of maneuvering capability to our neighbors, to Myanmar, to China, to foment up the trouble, because all you require is one person, who is very convinced of him being othered, and the rest, as they say, would be a very easy task for your opponents. And this is something which is really really worrisome, because politically, honestly speaking, in the last 3 months, I have not come across one single statement which gives me hope that that the government is on the lookout to find one particular solution which will help, or which will at least make baby steps toward solving this problem. Not one
Mr.
statement has come so far.
Mr.
Yes.
Kipgen, what are the okay? आप बोलिए पहले, फिर मैं पूछूंगा. बोलिए,
Uh,
कुछ कहना चाह
uh,
रहे थे आप?
yes. I do agree, and let me agree with Brijesh, and suppose that separate administration for the Kuki-INPI community will never be granted. It's something impractical, so to say. Now, let me put it the other way. Now, as a chief minister of Manipur, what is he going to do now? He is a Meitei chief minister, and he has seen that in the valley, be it from which walk of life, whichever walk of life they are from, there are no more cookies or people in the valley. Similarly, in the hills, the Meiteis are no more there. Now, in this kind of a situation, how are you going to administer the state? What you see, that question comes up. So how? Okay, let us agree that it is not possible for a separate administration. Then how are you going to administer? Your Meitei officers cannot go to the hills, and your officers, your bureaucracy, your bureaucrats, the MLAs, they are across all communities. But when there are certain areas, certain zones that a particular community can no longer enter, how are you going to administer these two entities? Just putting that question to you, Brijesh.
Unmute yourself, Brijesh.
I completely agree, Mr. Kipgen. What I was saying is what I felt based on our conversation with various people. It will become very, very difficult for any government to run Manipur. And with valley on one side and with hills on one side, there's no way the government will be able to run it. There's no denying the fact. I'm not saying that the government will be able to. I'm only stating what I'm gathering from the ground. And what is worrying me, as I said, that that there is no end in sight. I don't see any political parties making a statement which can be deemed or seem to be reconciliatory in nature.
Reconciliatory in nature. If Mr. Kipgen, leave alone reconciliatory in nature, I think the biggest fear right now is that there's a content. Manipur has turned
On
into
those
two cantonments. आपकी आवाज रुक गई थी, Brijesh. Finish your argument.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that is what is worrying me most, is that then the government is also aware of the fact that they cannot run hill, they cannot take care of the valley. Both sides can't go, officers of both sides can't go to there, and there is a massive problem at hand. I honestly don't understand, other than political reasons. I'm not getting into politics right now, but other than political reason, I don't see any reason why any government would try to stretch the conflict. That is itself very worrying for me, because it is not only related to the state, which is, I mean, as an Indian, it is paramount importance for me to see to it that both sides reconcile, that there is certain gives and takes which bring back the situation to normalcy. But I'm also worried about the fact that it's a border state, and that makes the situation for India, the state of Manipur, and everything very, very tricky. And I'm still not able to fathom why the state government is not showing that. So it's very, as I said, that that either you can control the law and order, or you can be a one ethnicity's hero. And I think the government right now is not trying to control the law and order as much as it's trying to be one ethnicity's hero.
That's
But
what
Mr.
not.
Kipgen,
Yeah.
okay, I think okay, fair enough. Please go on.
I
It's
was
my
just
time to listen now.
trying
No,
to.
it's my time to listen. मेरे सुनने का वक्त है, बोलने का नहीं है. आप बोलिए. आप और ब्रिजेश का ज्यादा बढ़िया बातचीत हो रहा है.
No, I was just trying to link up with my with the earlier point that I raised to the point Brijesh is making now. That we can guess the level of seriousness of the government by the way things are happening right now in the ground, and the focus, where the government's focus is right now. See, the state government, as I mentioned a while ago, both the national highways are open. National Highway 37 is open at the moment. National Highway 2 is open at the moment. There are vehicles are flying along. There is no issues. There are no problems with the vehicles flying, and yet the government is only interested in bringing into Manipur 70% of the consignment is construction materials. Why is that so? What kind of construction material are they bringing in? What is so urgent that right now we're not concentrating on food? See, food supply is not reaching Tengnopal. Food supply is not reaching Churachandpur. See, so when such kind of negligence and these kind of on essential commodities are there, how do you continue to put your trust in the leadership of such a chief minister? See, that there itself we can get to, we can find out the seriousness of the government, be it the central government or the state government. Amit Shah had requested that National Highway 2 should be opened. We have conceded to it. We are listening to everything that they tell us, and yet there is nothing coming forthcoming from the side of the government. That is a pathetic
No,
situation we are in.
I completely agree. And see, the point is that this is what I was saying, that if the government was serious, Mr. Kipgen, then the crackdown becomes a lot more easier, because once as an individual, suppose Kartikeya and I have picked up arms, and we are trying to act with impunity.
आवाज रुक गई ब्रिजेश तुम्हारी.
The second there is a seriousness, or if I feel that the center is serious, or the state or the police is serious, I will back out. But the point is that the reason why nobody is surrendering arms is because nobody is trusting the government, and and everybody knows that the government is not that serious as it should have been in ensuring a crackdown.
पंकज यू आर बैक. आपने शो के बीच में ब्रेक ले ली. ठीक है. Now you are back. We had been discussing a lot of issues about Manipur. Students वाली बात की थी. We were discussing about the sincerity of the government. I just want to know CBI के इन्वेस्टिगेशन से क्या फर्क पड़ता है, क्योंकि ये कोई क्राइम अगेंस्ट विमेन नहीं है. ये मतलब it's just not crime against women. It's like saying Nirbhaya was a lone case of attack in Delhi. No, it reflected the inhumanity of the society, and Nirbhaya response to Nirbhaya at that point of time कि किसके हिस्से में वो केस जाता है reflected us the problems in a system which Justice Verma's committee tried to correct. So ये जो हुआ मणिपुर में, it is not about that. It is not about that. मणिपुर में जो हुआ, it's not a just crime against women. These are targeted things. So can you just take us through why CBI? Why can't there be a Truth and Reconciliation Commission?
See, there are all the signs, Kartikeya, that you need a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. And last time when we had a conversation, you pointed out the example of South Africa. I have stayed there in South Africa, and I have seen that how deep this divide goes. In South Africa, for the benefit of our viewers, it was based on the basis of race, color of your skin. Here it is about ethnicity. Trust me, both of them are equally risky, equally dangerous, and they divide the society. And last example, what we mentioned about students, just think of the intensity. The actual clashes is happening far, far away in Northeast, but the uh, ripple effect is being felt across the country. Down south in Kerala, we have discussed it so far. Then we also have seen examples of students in Delhi and studying in other schools and colleges across the country also who come from Manipur. So this situation is actually pretty critical. Secondly, talking about the need of a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, it is very important as of now to the sound coming back. That just hold on again. Yes.
No, it's all right.
I'll be there. I'll be there. Sorry, I mean, these are the momentary breaks that we have taken. So the Truth and Reconciliation Commission obviously is not, a component with a CBI touch to it, or जो कहते हैं ना, कानून का डंडा वहां नहीं चलता है. वहां आप डरा धमकाकर ट्रूथ एंड रिकंसिलिएशन नहीं होता है. वहां पर दोनों पक्षों को ये मौका दिया जाता है कि वो अपने ग्रीवांस रखें, वो अपनी शिकायतें दर्ज कराएं. उसमें भी एफआईआर दर्ज होती है, और अगर वो एक सीमा के बाहर एक it's an inhumane crime, then they are tried also. So ऐसा नहीं है कि ट्रूथ एंड रिकंसिलिएशन एक टूथलेस बॉडी हो. जहां तक सीबीआई का सवाल है, व्हाट यू आस्क्ड कार्तिकेय, आई थिंक दैट सीबीआई इज a knee-jerk reaction from the government. हमारे यहाँ हम देखते हैं, अच्छा ये हो गया, चलिए सीबीआई को इसकी जांच करा देते हैं. जो टॉप मोस्ट बॉडी दैट वी थिंक कि हाँ सीबीआई जांच कर रही है, यानी सरकार जरूर कुछ कर रही है. क्यों पुलिस हमारी उतनी सक्षम नहीं है? क्या पुलिस के रोल पर भी सवाल उठाया जाएगा?
पुलिस की अथॉरिटी तो इरोड हो गई. अथॉरिटी ऑफ द पुलिस हैज बीन इरोडेड इन द प्रोसेस. Imagine armories were looted and there was no resistance. What I feel is, you try this in army depot and you see what happens. They will defend it. They will defend it to their last breath. आखिरी सांस तक अपने ऑर्डिनेंस को करेंगे. यहाँ ऑर्डिनेंस लेके चले गए, कोई रेजिस्टेंस नहीं.
Kartikeya, you also have to understand two things. A, this state of Manipur is not like state of Uttar Pradesh or Bihar, where the police is where like in Uttar Pradesh, you have an eastern Uttar Pradesh, you have a central Uttar Pradesh, you have a western Uttar Pradesh, and then you have Uttarakhand, which was also part of Uttar Pradesh, and all of them as different as chalky fruit cheese. In the state of Manipur, it's not that. It's the ethnicity, the bond of ethnicity is much deeper, and it's not like a state which has a large population, so the interperson connect is also there. And one of the reason I think it has been given to CBI is that CBI is the only other body which can investigate the case, given the kind of distrust which the Kuki community has as far as the Manipur police is concerned. I honestly don't think so that the community would have, or the ethnicity would have reacted normally if the Manipur police would have been asked to investigate this particular case.
Okay. And Mr. Kipgen, what do you make of this? This has also come in the news. I want your. This is called biometric, and this is something important. I want your. Guwahati, Manipur started on Saturday to capture the biometric data of illegal immigrants who entered state from Myanmar while fleeing unrest in the neighboring uh, country. ये किधर हो रहा है? Any information on that? Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, I am unaware where exactly the collection of this biometric data is going on. I believe maybe they are conducting it in some relief camps, or they are conducting it in the actual border areas. I'm not so sure. But this is something which even we welcome. We have always welcomed this, and because be it a cookies of from community, an Indian is an Indian, outsider is an outsider. There is no argument about that. Yes, we may
Absolutely.
sympathize. We may sympathize with them. We may want to give them refuge if there is crisis in neighboring country Myanmar. It's a different thing. But it is clear that citizens cannot be, by illegal means. We cannot
Correct. Correct.
encourage their entry into the country. This position is very clear from our on our part, and this is something which we always welcome. Even the concept of NRC, the principle of NRC, uh, that is also something which we are agreeable to. It's just that there are some things that the base year discussions on the base year, where we are not on the same boat with the other communities. These things have to be considered. But other than that, in principle, we have never objected to to these kinds of exercises, and even right now also, I think, and I wish that the government would once and for all come clearly, at least within the state of Manipur, how many illegal immigrants are there, come up with a figure. Then at least that narrative, that debate on this current crisis being due to illegal immigration, at least that can get phased out. Let us get done with that. And
Something more disturbing is happening. Let me share this with Brijesh. Brijesh, what I feel is, when you have violence, uh, which when you don't have mass mobilization, then you can have a punitive strike. If you look at the way things are happening, you have mass rally in Aizawl, you have huge protests in Churachandpur and adjoining areas, you have violence in More, and you have a counter mobilization of people in Imphal. So this public participation on highly sectarian issues, look at these visuals, is something greatly worrisome, because it's like violence has happened, but state is on a tinderbox. Every person in the state tends to be radicalized. मतलब ये बिल्कुल वैसे ही है जैसे मैं केवल एक तात्विक तौर पे नहीं कह रहा हूँ, in like a comparative way. If we do a comparative understanding, or if we do a comparative study of anthropology of violence or sociology of violence, large scale separation are always preceded by large scale mobilization of people, जैसे जब
Well,
पार्टीशन में
Kartikeya,
हुआ था.
Well, Kartikeya, this is something which we have discussed many times. I would say that every single day when it passes and without any concrete action or without any effective action being taken by the government, the it solidifies your fear, and also your fear that the state is not going to rescue you in your time of need. Now what happens when the state abandons you, or even the feeling seeps in? When the feeling of the state abandoning you comes in, the first thing which you do is you regroup.
Correct.
You get your entire ethnicity, you get your mohalla, you get your relatives. You start regrouping themselves yourself in order to face any eventuality which comes out at the abdication of yours or being left on your own by the state. This is exactly what is happening in the state of Manipur. There is a feeling in one side that the police is only being used to target the cookies. On the Maitai side, they're saying that several units of Assam Rifle is only targeting them, and the kind of build-up which is there. We say, the fact that now women are being used at the forefront to make sure that the army and the police is not able to carry out their effective duty to do effective crackdown on those who are still holding law and order in their hand is a telling testimony, because people, police cannot open fire on women, police cannot lathi charge women, and that makes the situation all the more unpalatable for the security forces. So by every passing day, we are not using the concrete in the real term, but we are concretizing the hate feeling between the two community and the ethnicity. And every statement which comes out from people who are holding high position, which says something to the effect that, oh no, rule out this demand, or there's no way on earth we are going to consider it, it further reinforces the fear of bias which is in the community or the other community, that this person will not listen to me. And that is exactly as it is being played out in the state of Manipur, Kartikeya. It's extremely unfortunate, but the way this is the way it is. And if it continues for a month or so, and I personally believe that it's going to continue for a while now. If it continues for a month or so, the chances of even bringing them back on the table will prove to be a much more Herculean task than that task would have been if that attempt was to made right now.
पंकज, तुमको भी लगता है कि मामला लंबा खिंचेगा in absence of a president rule, ghettoization which has happened?
Definitely, ये मामला लंबा खींचने वाला है, and for this to end, there are two things that are immediately needed. First, a very strong willpower, politically or beyond the political lines, and secondly, the situation. The key to the situation is not in New Delhi. It lies there in Manipur. So, be it an administrative visit. Remember, I'm not equating it, but Punjab में जब militancy थी और उसको खत्म करना फिर से माना जाता था कि नहीं, ये बिल्कुल ही खत्म नहीं हो सकती. दैट वाज एन एक्सटर्नल अग्रेशन. ठीक है, मैं मानता हूं उस चीज को, बट एक स्ट्रॉन्ग विल पावर के साथ, जिसमें बहुत लोग कहते हैं वी लॉस्ट आवर प्राइम मिनिस्टर आल्सो फॉर दैट, लेकिन इट कॉल्ड फॉर सच अ सिचुएशन. सो उस तरह की स्थिति, कुछ अगर लोग कहते हैं कि ऐसी स्थिति नहीं हुई है, तो मैं कहूंगा तब उसको रोकना होगा बिफोर इट एक्चुअली स्नोबॉल्स इनटू दैट काइंड ऑफ सिचुएशन. Otherwise, if some would say, and I for one believes that the situation is very delicate as of now in these changing times, then that the time is right now. So unless that particular quick fix is done, quick fix, a long lasting fix, and if you have to bite a bullet there, you must do it. Because Kartikeya, trust me, every day when we cover this aspect, when honorable guests like Mr. Kipgen share the views, the opinion that we are reading on our chat boxes, the kind of votes that we are getting on our poll questions, they are very basic, straightforward questions. Should an all-party delegation be next to visit Manipur? And look at the poll volumes and the percentage, those who are actually giving you an opinion. So clearly the fault lines are drawn. And if we are not reading the writing on the wall, then I think there is something a bigger problem with us. Otherwise, the situation better solved right now would be the correct approach.
Mr. Kipgen, today Indian Express also reported one thing, that there was armories were targeted again and again, again and again. ऐसा नहीं था कि armories off तरीके से target हो रही थी. They have accessed the FIRs there, and Indian Express reports that there's a pattern to it. बार-बार जाके लूट किया जा रहा था. तो what does it tell us कि अगर बार-बार लूटा जा रहा था, why weren't they beefed up?
That is also the way I heard that, what say one particular police station being looted twice, being looted thrice, and
Correct.
and I that has happened. That is there, and that only goes to show now the involvement of the state in the present, the looting of arms and the escalation of violence. You can have it. You can make an excuse once that we were overpowered or became so and so. How did the same thing happen again the next day and the next day after that? What was the question again anyway?
No,
Sorry.
my question was, Brijesh की ये
Mm.
जो एक्सप्रेस की रिपोर्ट है, that there's a pattern. Some of the areas were looted again and again, again and again.
Well, I think this also points toward the fact that the report which was carried by Indian Express itself. When they said that there were certain armories which were looted, and then there's certain armories which were handed over. The weapons were handed over. Once you cannot have a particular police station being looted thrice until unless I think all these police station needs to be thoroughly investigated to see to it that how did this happen. I think majority of those people should be sacked within immediately for not being able to stand up, a for the arm, b for the post, for the force which you have joined to ensure law and order. And three-time looting, Kartikeya, is a very clear indicator of how things would have had. I mean,
Because these
barring
are
that, there
these
is no other explanation to justify that.
because these are the reports which are coming in, and these reports clearly say, well, they are pointing out, and I'll show you the paper. You carry on the conversation. I'm going to get the paper and show it to you. Do you have the Indian Express paper right now? Just show that report. If you have the paper, I want you to show that report of the Indian Express in which it says, can you read that important line in which says, huh? Can you read that?
Absolutely, Kartikeya. It's on the front page. FIRs tell a story. Mobs on either side targeted police armory after armory. Mobs lobbing grenades, breaking locks, and fleeing with sophisticated weapons. And analysis of 46 FIRs during the two phases of Manipur violence paint a picture of police force that found itself overwhelmed, outnumbered, and sometimes even outgunned. The FIRs accessed by the Indian Express, and then they go on to say that 20 mentions of security personnel resorted to the use of tear gas, yet they could not save the police armory. I mean, this is
And what else?
the
What else?
story.
What else? Can you go into detail?
Yes. I'm going
Those
to.
details were shocking. Can you just read it to us?
Yes. It's
एक
on
जन
page.
को बार बार लूटा गया है.
बिल्कुल. And yes. In one instance, the same location was looted twice, more than 3 weeks apart. The FIRs have been filed suo motu by the security personnel at police stations in Imphal East and West, Bishnupur, Thoubal, Kaching, and Churachandpur districts. Most pertain to armories located in the state's valley area, while 9 pertain to incidents in Churachandpur. The most heated encounter described between security personnel and mobs is from an attempt to loot the 3rd IRB battalion campus at Khangabok in Thoubal district on July 4th. A member of the mob was killed, BSF personnel and one of the Assam rifles were injured. Now, the FIRs mentioned that as many as 3,000 people had mobbed the battalion when a combined force of the district police IRB, they defended it. And the FIR registered in connection with one of the biggest such lootings, the seizure of arms and ammunition from the Manipur Training College in Pandey on May 4th. States that a large mob of 5,000 miscreants wielding arms and lethal weapons entered the campus and overpowered the sentries on duty. In the incident, the FIR states the looted weapons included 175 INSAS rifles, 98 SLRs, 22 INSAS LMGs, 1 AK-47, and 91.303 rifles. Can you imagine that this is enough to wage a war?
I can't believe this. मुझे मतलब इंटेलिजेंस क्या कर रहा था मुझे दिस लाइक अ टोटल इंटेलिजेंस फेलियर यस
जब भी conflict zones, the first thing that you do is to protect your armory. अगर आपके पास आर्म्स ही नहीं बचेंगे, आप डिफेंड क्या करेंगे? So what kind of strategy was that?
और कौन लेके भाग गया कहां लेके भाग गया who has taken the names away Brijesh why how did they collect how do you organize 5,000 people cannot come like that you have to organize 5,000 people and how
To
can
break the crowd.
5,000 people know which part of the town they need to go to I think this should be part of the CBI investigation.
Kartikeya, this should be, and not only this, the fact that that the DGP, then DGP, and most of the senior ministers in the Viren Singh government, the kind of application which was there that please return the arm to us, please return the arm to us. We put up, boxes and all where you can drop arms. Certain arms were returned, but only after the bullets were exhausted. Then the arm was of no use to them, and that is the reason why arm was returned. I think,
Correct.
I mean, it's a massive failure on the part of the law and order situation, and it does give a rise to the impression that that not everything was looted, but something was also handed over. Because you have army also there, you have Assam rifles there. You can always ask for force reinforcement. It would be interesting to see or to find out what the investigation revealed, whether
I
they
think
were
that's a
called for
very
some.
interesting point you have said. I maybe you have said it. I have not recalled it. कि जब गोलियां खत्म हो गई तब वो weapons वापस किए गए.
Yes, several arms were returned only because they had exhausted the bullet, and also the fact that that whether this Assam rifles or the Indian Army was used to provide some sort of cover to the those police stations which were being looted more than once, but nothing of that sort is happening. I think Kartike, there are a lot much which needs to be proved very thoroughly to see to it that that the real picture what happened and how it happened should come out.
I'm just googling it. I'm saying how many bullets stolen in Manipur. So when we talk about 4,000 weapons, 4,000 weapons were stolen. This is the report: 4,000 weapons, and apart from the 4,000 weapon, thousands of rounds of bullets have been stolen. It means that the at the current stage right now, people have bullets ability to fire in their hand. Pankaj.
Well, obviously, see, I mean, this kind of ammunition in circulation is not good for any state. Let me tell you, the kind of the weaponry that has been described in the reports, and yes, the number of bullets, ammunitions. Obviously, if 5,000 people are attacking a police armory, then obviously they are not just going to take away the guns. They know that the bullets. Obviously, they will need it. एंड जो कहते हैं कि एक बार खून लग जाना, एक बार शेर के मुंह में अगर खून लग गया है, आर्मरी, इट्स अ ह्यूमन नेचर कार्तिकेय. गन्स के साथ पीपल फील एम्पावर्ड, उन्हें लगता है कि दे कैन थ्रो देयर वेट अराउंड, एंड ऑब्वियसली even if I would say some examples have come out that when the bullets were exhausted they return the guns, but if concrete actions are not taken, if a scouting, if a clear probe is not done here, then I don't see those guns coming back either, because people have a tendency to stick to their guns and obviously use it whenever the time comes. So that doesn't speak well, and that poses a much graver danger, and that a long-lasting danger as well, because you can maybe placate the sentiments, but what about that fringe spurt of violence, fringe run of emotions? And at that drop of the hat, if the guns are fired, then again the situation would spiral back to where it is right now. So it's very critical as of now to get those guns back by any means, because see, I mean, asking them and putting boxes is a good gesture, but can Manipur afford that as of now? Because guns in circulation means it is no concrete step has been made towards peace and normalcy so long as the guns are in circulation. So I think a step further needs to be taken, and more active steps need to be taken to bring
I'm really sorry. This frame has changed. I have to tell you, my computer conked out. So I came back very quickly on my mobile phone. So I'm looking slightly different. But the fact of the matter is that, the light in Noida plays its part. So that's about it. But Brijesh, coming to it, do we expect a discussion on this issue in Parliament this week?
Well, I don't think that there's going to be much discussion because the government, because the opposition parties, they are still adamant on the fact that the government, the Prime Minister must make a statement. I think, what will happen from Tuesday onwards, the Speaker might decide a date on which this discussion on no confidence motion will take place. I think that is going to be a very important and crucial point. What we've been given to understand is that on Monday, the Delhi Ordinance Bill is likely to come up for discussion, and this no confidence motion would either be on Tuesday or Wednesday. I think by tomorrow afternoon we'll get a very clear idea of when it is going to come.
Tomorrow afternoon. And lastly, if I may ask you, you expect that this will go through in the current session of the Parliament?
this no confidence motion.
Yes.
See, there are a lot of ifs and buts. The
Just correct me.
BJP.
This is the first part of the monsoon session, now, Brijesh.
Yes, this is the first part of the monsoon session, and what BJP doesn't fear the no confidence motion. They are also trying to shore up as much number as possible to poach out to other opposition leaders as well, and they would want to get as many numbers possible. The second thing is that they are sure of the fact that of what we've been given to understand is that the Prime Minister will reply on this issue last, and going by the way it has panned out in the past. The BJP is very, very confident that with the Prime Minister's statement, it will puncture the opposition narrative. This is what the BJP is thinking. So they're not worried about that. The opposition wants this discussion because the opposition feels that that if the entire thing is discussed in it threadbare, that in itself will be victory for them, and it will be, because they also know where the number lies as far as the majority in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha is concerned.
My understanding is that this discussion will take place, but I think the most important thing is that both me, Brijesh, will be back tomorrow at 11. We'll give you more reports from Ground Zero. Our reports from More had come. We had covered Saturday and Sunday the entire visit of the member of parliament who had gone there. Our reporters are there, and our reporters have been deployed in Churachandpur, Kangpoki, Imphal, and More, and we will give you those ground reports from the place where people have been huddled together. One, we will also take you to the places where the new bunkers have come up. We will give you a ground report of the state highways and how they are manned, and we will try to speak to those people who had gone to Manipur and get you an on ground assessment tomorrow at 11 a.m. Join with me on a special Manipur edition with me and Brijesh tomorrow. Thank you so much. Namaste.